Jamahal Hill has shown a lot of promise, and that is reflected in the line, minus 240, against a guy in Johnny Walker who's been up and down, inconsistent, but we know how dangerous he is. How are you trying to break down this fight?
Well, look, let's start off with Johnny Walker. This is somebody that after, I guess, needing to be controls, needed to go somewhere where someone could have that chaos be a little bit more poised. And he went with John Kavanagh at SBG, and we saw that last fight against Thiago Santos. He was poised, but it was almost a little bit too much. So I don't know if Johnny Walker has found that happy medium yet where he's got that aggression and power, but he also knows how to really control it. We've seen that fight against Ryan Spann and many others where he's taken the shot and then he was able to come back and land a wild one to finish the fight. You know, in that one against Ryan, I think it was even, he was essentially out twice. They didn't stop it. He came back and won. We've seen that happen too many times with Johnny Walker, too much flash. And then again in his last fight, he sat back and he watched as Thiago Santos kind of pointed him for the win, which is something we don't expect when we think of a Johnny Walker fight. In this one here, I think Jamahal Hill, the odds really, truly represent correctly. For me, and again, we can go back to Johnny Walker as we see it on the screen here. Plus 130, he lost, and then as a favorite, up and down, you said it best. However, for me, this stylistically is not a good matchup for him. I think for Jamahal Hill, people were really kind of thinking he was exposed after he lost to Paul Craig, saying, oh, this is only someone who could strike. He's a knockout artist. Look what happens when you put him in a position on the ground. You know what? He bounced back against someone in Jimmy Crute. That is no small task to take on after a loss, and he did what he did best, and he sent Brute Crute to sleep, right? For me, Johnny Walker, I don't know if he's going to be as patient. He has to find a way to use that power, get that explosive energy controlled. But against Jamahal Hill, I just think he's too good of a striker. I think he's going to find that very weak chin of Johnny Walker, and I think he gets it done inside the distance or wins by TKO or KO.
Oh, wow. Okay, inside the distance. I agree with you on the Jamahal Hill sort of. Anybody who's thinking this guy was exposed, Paul Craig is just, he's kind of that anomaly, man. He's not going to be, he's not ranked in like the top 5. So when you see a guy slip on a banana peel against Paul Craig, you do, I think, you tend to think like, oh man, he lost to Paul Craig. Like how good can Paul Craig, his guard is just that kind of X factor, man. Guys have fallen into that. Magomed Ankalaev, who is a guy I'm extremely high on, I think everybody is. I think he's going to fight for a title someday. He lost to Paul Craig in the very last second of his UFC debut. So by a triangle choke off the ground. So I do give Jamahal Hill a little bit of a pass when it comes to that. So what made you decide to go with the finish though? Because like you said, I'm just having a hard time trying to decide what we're going to see out of Johnny Walker, man. And so it just gives me pause betting this main event entirely because you got a wild guy who was almost too wild and then who was like too composed in his next one. What makes you think that he's not going to be that way again, I guess, because that's the most recent thing that we saw out of him?
Sure. Look, for Johnny Walker, I just think he's confused with who he is as a fighter. He got to the UFC and he got those few wins in the beginning because of his aggression, his wild style, almost like Michel Pereira, except we've seen Pereira be able to control it while maintaining a level of aggression output, and that's why he's climbing the ranks, and Johnny Walker just hasn't figured it out yet, but I'm not relying on him figuring it out. I am relying here on the IQ of Jamahal Hill. I don't think Walker's a threat putting him on his back. He definitely doesn't have the jiu-jitsu skills of Paul Craig. So I think that we're going to see Jamahal Hill do what he does best. He's going to walk his opponent down. He's going to literally cut the angles off, and he's going to jab and jab until he's able to land that cross. And Walker does not have a good chin. I don't see him being in a situation where he's able to come back up after he gets knocked down. Hill does not make too many mistakes. Outside of Paul Craig, he doesn't swing for the fences. He lets it flow. So I think at some point that he's going to touch that chin and Walker's going to go out. I don't see this going 5 rounds.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you're high on Jamahal Hill, and a lot of people are. If you want more on this fight, check out ESPN.com tomorrow. I have a piece coming out with a bunch of different analysts talking about plenty of different contenders in different weight classes. Jamahal Hill is one of them. A lot of good feedback on Jamahal Hill.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.